movie?
Yeah, it's the one that we watched. You gave it to me the link a long time ago too.
Yeah, it was like a long time ago, but
yeah.
Did you watch that, Joe?
This time,
I didn't watch that.
Well, when you get like a half an hour free, check it out, dude. It's an amazing video.
Yeah.
You ready for this?
Alrighty. Okay.
Alright, welcome to The Rinse. Today is August 4th. My name is Joseph the Vision X Matting. Sitting with me through the magic of the internet is Keone, Jack Trauma Young, and Steve Fantasy Jeffries.
How's it going, everybody?
Keone's just like, I'm not going to talk. He didn't give me enough time to say hello, so whatever.
I was just trying to figure out, because we are Keone, Jack Trauma Young, just how much my parents hated me to put that as my middle name.
Well, yeah, definitely. They're bastards. They were like, man, you know what, this guy, I got this gamer tag. This is set. Remind me to name my boy middle name Death Star, so that he has to get that gamer tag.
Not only did you ruin my body, you ruined my life. Your middle name is now Jack Trauma.
It's such a traumatic event.
Jack Trauma will be your name.
Starting out this week, Microsoft is officially recruiting players to hunt Xbox trolls through the Enforcement United service that they plan to pick up. You can be what is effectively an Xbox ambassador, but really you're just hunting. Hunting down the assholes. You're a hall monitor.
Excuse me, sir. I don't think that you have the ability to be doing that. Stop it.
Stop using numbers for letters and changing things around.
Your need speak is really messing with my brain.
It's not really like that. Okay, the existing Xbox ambassador, if you open up like a support ticket for anything on Xbox.com, the ambassador is going to meet you before a real Microsoft employee, which is if it's kind of your average everyday question, then the ambassadors can be pretty helpful. But in this way, if you're on, say, your Xbox 360 or the Xbox One, which is really what this system has been implemented for, and some guy's out there hacking in Call of Duty or something, everybody reports him. These enforcements, I don't know, enforcers, I guess. I'm just going to call them enforcers. These Microsoft enforcers are regular people who can say, yes, they did something that did in fact break the rules, and then, you get those votes to come in. Enforcers are trusted members of the community, and they will quickly, push a guy out. Like, yeah, you really did do it wrong. This is similar to what, like, League of Legends does. They have their tribunal system on League of Legends where the community gets to confirm whether people were banned justly, basically. Do you belong being banned? You have committed an offense, or you haven't committed an offense. It's pretty interesting, but to add a reason for people to actually do it, Xbox community levels have been implemented as well. So with Xbox community levels, you'll get rewards for having been, an enforcer, I guess. Ambassadors have already had these community level rewards, but ambassadors are now going to not be the only meal ticket to getting free stuff from Microsoft for helping them out.
Really good troll is going to be able to go up in the community and become an ambassador. Ironically, his name will be Judge Dredd, and he'll go around saying, I am the law!
I don't think so. It doesn't really work like that with the enforcer.
Done.
Oh,
You're out.
God.
You just wiped
With
out.
enforcers, it doesn't really work in that way. If they're gonna.
No, this is a great idea. I mean, it is to have the community involved with it. I mean, we obviously it's evident that gamers are as involved, if not more involved, sometimes than the companies are themselves with their own products. So I mean, they're already on there and they're willing to put their time toward that. I think that's pretty cool. But at the same time, it could turn into situations like Keone's saying, where the witch hunt goes on. You get some you get these ambassadors that are like, I really hate that guy. You know, he's such a jerk, and it could happen that way.
I feel like in terms of the breadth of Xbox Live, if you're going to have an enforcement team that's just sniping people out that they don't like, you're going to have a pretty large group of people. And I'm guessing that person they're going to snipe has been an asshole for a long time to pick out that many people to get insta-banned.
No, I agree with that. I'm just saying it's, you know, it could happen.
It could happen, but if there's that many people being an asshole, or I mean that many people who think that guy's an asshole, then he's probably an asshole.
I say there's that many people being assholes, Joe. I'm sure they wouldn't have this. They wouldn't have this enforcement program. There wasn't.
Have you been on the interwebs?
Well, there are that many assholes out there, but I'm just saying, if assholes don't like this one asshole, then I could say asshole more.
Go play WoW.
If this was a drinking game where you said asshole, we'd all be wasted already.
It's true.
Play World of Warcraft for like, I don't know, 5 minutes.
There's a game that needs some ambassadors right there.
Come on. But there's no like thing, you know, there's really nothing you can do in WoW where somebody's like, man, this guy just ruined my life, and you can't fix it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take that long.
This is not true, man. Guys are out there stabbing other people because they fucked shit up on this game, so you can't tell me that it's not ruining their life.
Well, you know what? If we're at the stage where somebody's going to find me in real life and stab me, then I'm pretty sure that I gave him too much of my personal information.
You know what's going to happen is that they're going to
listen, kids.
Because Xbox is always going for the realism. Eventually, they're going to have like post-traumatic stress disorder from Call of Duties and Halos and stuff.
Hey.
This is what happens. Okay.
Then maybe the government would have a legitimate excuse to say video games cause violent interaction. Until then, we're just going to continue to have a lot of fun on our Microsoft Xbox One console. So if you're not aware, which you won't be because you don't follow my every living breath, I recently applied to become Microsoft's Xbox Evangelist. I'm not kidding, that's the title. Xbox Evangelist. So I'm going to be kind of on the Microsoft team for a little while, at least, until I figure out the results of my application. So for now, I love you, Microsoft, and please be my friend, because I'm really good at flipping words positively.
You know what's going to be funny is if you get trolled by them and you actually get a friend request in Xbox.
No, you know what? You know what's interesting is that I was thinking about it. If they do like an interview situation over the phone, and they were like, "What would you differently? Like, what would you do differently as opposed to what Larry Herb did when this situation comes around where they say, oh, you know, what about this DRM?" And he said it was integrated into the system. Well, I was thinking like, okay, if he says it's integrated into the system and it's an essential part of the system, that's where you made the mistake. You never go solid on anything. I would have just said something along the lines of, well, with the new system that we have implemented, you'll be able to share with 10 of your family members, you know, some feature that's already known. Everybody already knows it. But you just kind of throw it out there like, this is an advantage we have over Sony right now in our current system. And it,
that's right. Ours will ring a lot easier than Sony's.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, because with Sony's console right now, you can only share with up to, 2 PlayStations simultaneously? But with Microsoft's Xbox unit, you can... Oh, and they have to be logging in your profile in order to use that content on those PlayStations. But with Microsoft's Xbox One console, you'll be able to share with 10 friends and family members on any profile they choose to log in on that Xbox console.
What does it say on the other part of that 3x5 you're holding up there?
I'm not holding a 3x5. I'll turn on the webcam right now. You'll see. I'm just kind of chilling here, looking at the sky, like staring at a Minecraft hook over there. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, really, it's just funny, and I could see that happening. So if that happens, and I get so lucky as to do that, then that's great. And you know, Shotgun will reap the benefits.
Oh yeah, we're all pulling.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. I hope that if so, they won't be like, hey, listen, you can't be on that podcast anymore where you have your own opinions. Because if that's true, then that'll really suck. And I'll have to have enough...
Then Joe will be dressing up in a brown suit, really high boots, and walking
through the mud? Really?
Stomping the Microsoft too.
No, I don't think so.
I am Microsoft!
No. I mean, of course, I would be pro Microsoft, and I'm not I'm not opposed to what they're doing now. They're very consumer centric at the moment. So I'm just, I'm really good at putting a positive spin on things, and I'm sure we could start up a podcast in Shotgun Mouthwatch claiming exclusive Xbox details. But anyhow, Microsoft will increase its Xbox One's GPU clock speed as it finalizes its console hardware. So, as part of what I would expect to be a firmware patch, if it doesn't ship immediately, the GPU will run at 853 megahertz instead of 800 megahertz. How do you guys feel about that?
I feel that we're going to get more Red Rings of Death.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. The reason why they improved the megahertz clock over the 800 was just about stability. They actually underclocked it down to the 800 for stability. They realized that it runs not only colder, but quieter than the slim Xbox unit that they have. So they bumped the megahertz just a bit. Just a little bit. This should result in only a few frames per second, but when you're looking at a couple megahertz here and there, everything helps in the next gen, if it means.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is it really going to do?
Yeah,
I mean that
you're looking at like 7%, improvement in the actual hardware. But if that means that I go from, 58 frames to 60 frames per second, good. That's great. That's what I want.
Yeah, but they already claimed that every game's going to play at 60 frames per second. So that means they're saying that's going to go up.
60 frames per second.
All those games that they coded to run at 60 frames per second will now run at 66 frames per second. And the next game that they make will have just a little bit sexier rocks.
That's right.
If that's what you got to do to make things look just a little bit sexier, I'm just saying, give them.
That's what I need to make my rocks
up. Give them that augmentation.
No, I agree. I mean, if they underclocked it and they're not worried about heat, then that's a definite. It's a plus for them. But that's not to say that Sony hasn't done the same thing, and any other console out there that's done the same thing. So it's just it's a plus for them, but still against the massive box of negatives for me that they've handed me, I still, that doesn't hold strong for me yet. So.
Yeah, I mean
the whole ass end of the Sony system is airflow. So they could do whatever they want, but the Xbox One is just kind of like, from what you can see, it's just like one exhaust port. You're gonna get red ring. So even ring red.
I mean, to be honest with you right now, it's not really possible to have a red ring of death on the Xbox One system. So that's good. I mean, if there's a positive there, because it doesn't include red lights in the console, so. I mean, if nothing else, it's just going to be like the white blinking logo of death.
It's just not going to turn on.
No, but realistically, though,
the red ring of death, the white ring of purity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because now
you'll press the button on the screen and it'll just say, "Not today."
No, see, the thing is, you'd be like, Xbox on, and Kinect would be like, "I can't let you do that, Joe." And then I'm like, "Why not? What happened, Xbox?" And it's just like, I only have the primary CPU functions of the Kinect at the moment. The Xbox hardware has been disabled. Go outside, Joe.
And you're looking quite sexy in your underwear in your living room.
Go outside, Joe. Go outside.
Go.
Oh, I'm waiting for you.
No, Xbox, I can't go outside. Let me hug my Windows 8 PC.
Go. I can't. That's when you'll tell it, no.
No.
You live in Washington. It's raining.
Oh, I can't go outside. Seriously, though. Fuck that.
The graphics are great, but the story sucks.
Speaking of great graphics and a sad story, the Ouya console is giving early adopters store credit as an apology for shipping late and missing controllers. How do you miss controllers in your shipped units? And if so, I don't think the $13.37, that's late money, is going to pay for a missing controller. Pretty sure that's not going to cover it.
No, the controllers are $50.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
they're half the cost of the system. That's what happened though. They missed controllers because these were the extra controllers that people ordered with that from the Kickstarter. So they order a console with 2 controllers, they get a console with 1 controller. They also sent out a lot of beta consoles to people instead of the actual fully, prototypes. They were sending out prototype consoles instead of the complete consoles to their Kickstarter people. So they did a whole lot of stuff, man. That I had no idea that they were really screwing over their people, the Kickstarter people. And
yeah, this is a lesson, ladies and gentlemen. When you are going to do group backing or group financing or funding of these people, of any kind of Kickstarter thing like that, pay attention and do your shopping and do your homework. They raised something like 900% of what it is they needed to do their backing, like in order to get that going. So if you are over 800% of what it is that you were looking to get, there should be zero problems. Absolutely zero. Shipping, all that stuff. The stuff should have came gold plated for that kind of.
When we're talking about shipping, really quick, I just got the Leap Motion controller, okay? And in relation to the Ouya here, this doesn't just happen with crowdfunding, okay? These guys got like $30 million to ship the Leap Motion unit, which, by the way, is fantastic, and you could check out the review on shotgunmouthwash.com. But the shipping on this thing, I pre-ordered it 13 months ahead of launch, and it never happened. It was like it never existed, like I didn't pre-order it. I put all my information in the website, I hit go, and then it comes to like 3 weeks ahead of time. They're like, we're shipping units to you. And I was like, great, when's mine going? And then they're like, it's a rocky process. And I was like, great, when's mine going? And then it was like, hey, we're going to Best Buy in 2 days. And I was like, you still haven't shipped my shit. So I got it off BestBuy.com. It sent the next day, very next day off Best Buy. So, if Ouya is available elsewhere other than through the the exact place from the actual manufacturer, then get it somewhere else, because I feel like all these third-party companies or these first-party companies are working better with retailers than they're working with the consumer right now, and that is some bullshit.
They are. They're working with you can get it at Target or GameStop or any of those places.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, why not prioritize your consumer rather than prioritize your retailer?
So right here, this is what it's saying: is that at 1337 times the Kickstarter backers, it only comes out to $847,871. They raised $9 million to make this thing. So that's all they're giving back.
But they're giving back Leap money. So come on, come on. And there's no way that you're going to buy like any game. It doesn't matter what combination of games. You're not going to reach that exact penny quantity, too. So it's like one of those things where people are like, man, I got $1.37 and this game's $1.89. I better give them some money.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, but realistically, like, I mean, it's nice, I guess, that they're giving them back a credit. That's good, for shipping late. For those people, for the shipping late people, that's great. For the missing controller people, I hope they got their second controller, and that's glad that they got some credit. But I'd rather not have the credit and have you take that $800,000, hire yourself an accountant, make sure that they're going to get it shipped. I'm talking to you, Sony. Listen up. Make sure you get your stuff shipping right this holiday, because I know Microsoft's going to do it right, so you better get it straight.
I don't think Major Nelson's listening.
No, I know. I'm just remember, I'm on the Microsoft boat, okay? I'm on the Microsoft boat for now. For now.
What are you talking about? He's standing behind Joe right now, handing him cards.
He's like,
that's 3x5.
That's he's actually standing in front of Joe, holding.
Standing in front of me, I wouldn't be able to read my screen. Not that I really need. Most of my content that I come up with is just like pooping it out of my brain. But occasionally...
That's Major Nelson too. Joe, you don't need your screen, okay? I'm Major Nelson. I'm sitting right here. You will know everything you need to.
If he was telling me anything, I guarantee you'd be able to pick his voice out of a crowd. I'm not kidding. I mean, it's obvious. Somebody who... anybody who's watched... anybody who's watched the Xbox dashboard features with him in it like 3 or 4 times is going to be like, this is Major Nelson. Larry Herb. I can hear that voice in the background. It's like a shadow of a whisper. It's there. Speaking of shadows and whispers, a terrible transition approaches. Ubisoft is diving into movies. Diving because Assassin's Creed #4 is in water. I see here. See what you did there. Diving into movies with an Assassin's Creed film. Okay. Assassin's Creed. Obviously, this is a great series. Assassins versus Templars throughout history. If you don't know anything about Assassin's Creed, I'm about to spoil the entire plot right here, and I'm sure they will. You know, there's not much you can do. So you exist as a human in the future, our future. This human is having his brain tapped for his ancestors' memories. Apparently that's possible in this game. No idea. No idea how that works. Through my dinner.
Yep.
So we explore the history of the assassins, because I am destined to be an assassin because all my ancestors were assassins. Okay? Ubisoft wants to make this into a film. Assassins destroying Templars. One assassin, I'm sure he's going to be amazing. And I hope he gets killed at the end of every movie, because they always have to change assassins in the next one, and I don't want to see sequels with the same face in it.
The whole Assassin's Creed thing, the first one transitioned into the second one, because the 6 is whatever.
The sex one.
Yeah, that's a whole different movie.
Yeah.
The first one transitioned nicely into the second one, because as you're playing the second one, the guy from the first one, Altair, he actually is in the second one, and you're just like, whoa, what
Yeah,
the?
but I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had that happen, then the sense of trilogy where they go into like the pirate era that they're in right now wouldn't really be possible. And I think I would prefer
It'll make sense, dude. It'll make sense when you play the third one.
Yeah, but the
fourth
only
will be like,
recurring
oh.
character I want to see is the guy in the modern times. I don't want to see recurring characters where it's like, you know.
Yeah, that's the beauty of Assassin's Creed, is that he actually is the main character, but it's so underplayed that you don't.
Yeah,
you
he's
don't
just
even,
like a shelf
you're
character,
like,
and you're like, okay, I'm this guy again. You know, this isn't the main character,
like,
but it is. It always has been.
but it is, yeah, exactly.
So that's yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Anyway,
expected to come out May 22nd of 2015. The Assassin's Creed film is produced by the French company Ubisoft Motion Pictures. It's gonna be interesting.
yeah, they actually did a little short movie for Assassin's Creed, and it took place a little bit before Assassin's Creed 2, and focused on Ezio's father, who is Giovanni, and it was absolutely amazing. I mean, just story-wise, all three of them were absolutely amazing, but this movie was their little delve into seeing if they would be even worth it, and I think the people have spoken.
It doesn't actually say, though, which one they're going to follow through with, if it's going to be like a first movie, or is it going to be a spin-off to another storyline. So I'm interested to see what they're actually going to do with it. I mean, are they going to, because sometimes transitioning a straight-up video game to the screen and basically making that same game onto the movie screen kind of it cheapens it, and they never actually do it right. So in a way, I kind of hope that they don't follow the current game storyline, and they spin off like they did with that other one where you're saying where it was another. It's still connected to the story, but something off of it. So it's not necessarily
I mean, let's talk real quick about why a video game's movie doesn't work. With Resident Evil. It worked out okay, but could have worked.
Mario Brothers movie.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I say the Mario Brothers movie.
Well, the Mario Brothers movie didn't work because it wasn't the game. Okay, Resident Evil works okay because it implements a lot of the game. Not all of the game, but a lot of the game. Tomb Raider worked because it was pretty much the game. It wasn't a blockbuster or anything. But video game movies that vary from the actual product are the ones that tend to actually fail. So I don't know that it is a good idea for them to go off the beaten path and develop their own Assassin's story, Like, I don't want to see something like Transformers where they're just paying attention to the Shia LaBeouf character the whole time.
Yeah, I think maybe that Sci-Fi should pick this up and actually do like either a miniseries or an actual TV show. That would be rad.
Well, the thing about Sci-Fi having it, though, is it couldn't be as violent as it needs to be. If it
True,
was on,
with this one,
Showtime
it needs to
or
be pretty.
HBO, then it would be a great miniseries, because then they could just rip people's heads off and be like, listen, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but they'll throw sex in there too.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. It kind of takes away from the game itself because it doesn't have that much sex going on.
Yeah, but if they made a
just the second one,
God of War series off of that, then they could totally do that because that's plenty of sex and violence in that one. So
they did, but they ended up calling it something stupid like Spartacus.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's going to be interesting to see, of course. I personally want it to flesh out very closely to the story. Obviously, you would like to see it step away, so whichever one they choose, write it down, guys. Right now, if you're listening, write it down. Joe, check 1 for real game. Steve, check 1 for shitty other thing. And we'll see which one sells better.
I don't necessarily say that completely off of the storyline. Just they can't go like, frame for frame from the video game to the movie screen.
Sure they can.
You've already seen it,
I don't even care. It takes too long to watch it in the video game. If you get that whole...
Not a lot of people have played Assassin's Creed. The sales are kind of just mediocre, but the people that have played it constantly are like, dude...
the sales... Okay, wait a minute. 1 second. Let's clear this up for the fans. The sales are fan-fucking-tastic for any indie developer ever, but because it's Ubisoft,
I meant Assassin's Creed
for
1.
Ubisoft, the sales are average. But
yeah.
I mean, when you're talking about a major, publisher, they're like, well, it's all right. It's all right. All right, on to the next one. Destiny is picking inspiration from Borderlands. It is also picking inspiration from Far Cry 3. However, focusing on the Borderlands because I feel like that's the most obvious feature of Destiny. When I first saw the video, I was like, oh, it's Borderlands, look at that, except it's huge and always online.
Yeah.
Okay. Steve? I heard you open your mouth as if you had something to say.
I was just saying, no, it's a fine choice to pick between games. I mean, if you are going to mimic some games. I haven't played like tons of Borderlands. I'm not a real big first-person shooter player in the first place because I die more often. I spend more time dead and respawning than I actually do getting to play the game.
But for your first year of first-person shooters, that's generally how it is because there are pros and then there's Steve. And that's okay. I taught my sister how to play. She's like 3 years older than I am. I taught her how to play over the course of a year. Now she's as good at Call of Duty as I am.
See, as I said, I don't think I'll ever get...
Is that good or bad?
That is good. It's good. I got like 2.5 kill death ratio in Black Ops. It's fine.
Okay.
But anyway, they say that obviously the weapons and looting system is going to be in the same way Borderlands is, and then it's going to have the open world feel that Far Cry has. Obviously, they want to try to take that to the next level. But all the sounds that you're hearing in the game and everything, that's all natural in there happening. When you hear gunfire over a hill, that's because there's gunfire over a hill. So it's going to be a kind of a naturally flowing game.
All this realism that you're talking about, though, it sounds like you play on the PlayStation?
Borderlands is... Destiny will actually be available on the PlayStation and the Xbox One coming in.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah.
Any plans for PC?
Not that I know of, actually. I don't think that they plan to put it out on PC, but they might. Let me see here. Maybe I'm just retarded. I'm going to go ahead and open up DestinyTheGame.com where I can check and see this.
I will tell you this, though. I mean, I'm going to play Destiny. I'll just be an amazing support job for all of us four.
Yeah, I'll definitely be playing it, too.
It's not a... That's not a question. I mean, I'm going to play it. It looks like an amazing game.
Destiny the game is available for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox One, and Xbox 360.
So consoles only right now.
Consoles only.
It will probably jump to PC eventually, I'm sure.
I don't know. I mean, Bungie does have a history of doing that, but I don't know Activision's implementation on that. Oh, I really want the Destiny Star Map wallpaper. Might have to pre-order it on Amazon.com. That isn't a shameless plug because we don't get paid by them. Well, we sort of do if people actually click their ads, but they don't. And please don't click my ad because I told you to. Click it because you want to buy something. Seriously, it's the reason why we lost our advertising last time. Oh my god, I'm freaking out.
Well, if our viewers are clicking the ads for us, it's not weird.
I mean, it sort of is. It's still, if they're clicking them not because they want to buy something, but just to click them, then it's kind of it's negative, and you can lose your publishing rights. Actually, it's a weird.
Trust me, there's good crap on there. I always want to click on them because I see like really awesome ads, but we're not allowed to. So.
Nintendo is posting a net profit again this year, when last year they had their first loss in the history of the company. However, it only sold 100,000 Wii U consoles in the past quarter. 160,000, I'm sorry. It's an interesting thing to see operating loss on them for the first fiscal quarter, but they're having a net profit of 6.2 or 8.62 billion.
It is interesting. They're kind of the dog here, and a lot of people always kind of dismiss Nintendo and their Wii, but they're actually one of the few companies that always have green or black, whatever.
Yeah, they're not.
They don't.
They got the green.
Yeah, they're getting.
Yeah,
the green,
they keep their numbers in the black. They're hardly ever in red. So that's kind of a surprise.
Throughout the history of the company, they really haven't posted anything in the red except for that last quarter. So. Making that back, now that the components to make the Wii U is even cheaper, it really doesn't matter how many they sell. That's only going to affect their stock plan. But, they're still making a profit when they do sell the units, as opposed to what Microsoft and Sony have been doing in the past. It took them many years.
It's okay. It's going to explode once they release that Pokemon
MMO
Skylanders game.
No, the Pokemon Skylanders game, I don't feel like that's going to hit as hard as a lot of people think that it is, because Skylanders didn't keep up a slow production of their little units enough. They always release them in bulks of like 10.
Yeah, but this is Pokemon, dude. This is 651 Pokemon that every single Pokemon nerd in the world, including myself, are going to be like, I need every single one of them. And if they're shinies, that's 1 in every 10 cases, so help me God, I will have 651 motherfucking shinies.
The thing about the Pokemon, though, is that there is... Normally, with their trading cards, there's a chance roll on getting the right Pokemon. So the trading cards were successful in that way. And then they released new bundles. And of course, just like Magic, people had to be like, oh god, new bundle. Pikachu's got Thundershock now.
Oh my god!
Whereas with these little figurines, it's not really going to change their skills to get a different one unless they release like Pikachu number 2. You can evolve him from Pichu first. Blah, 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 blah. There's...
You're blowing my mind.
Realistically speaking...
You're really blowing on fire, too, because it's getting me hot.
If they release like the first 151 as Series 1, then you're talking about something that could be very successful for them. And then they just kind of throw out a 1 or 2 a week for the next until you die. Then... you could have a very successful Pokemon game program with these little physical figurines, and it would kick off where Skylanders has started to fall off. But the Skylander...
I'm just saying, they got 651, they could start some kind of randomizer, and they'll do it for like, alright, we're going to release these, this set for every month.
Then you'll have a fail.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
They know better than that, though. I honestly think, too, like, because even the Wii U's kind of sparked my interest as far as, like, purchasing this console now, with the fact that their online market, where they're actually adding a lot of the old school Nintendo and Super Nintendo games, they're really implementing a lot more of those back to the system, and they're really cheap.
That's got me interested too.
It does.
Mario RPG on a 52-inch screen.
Yeah, that gives a major appeal, and I'll definitely give you that. And Nintendo's got some appeal from the titles that they released recently. However, I think the reason why they still have that appeal is because it's after so long, people are finally getting over the fact that, oh my god, I can't play my last generation games in my current generation console, because it's now happening in the second consecutive set. Nobody but Atari and PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2 transition has had the availability of backward compatibility, but people are still crying about it. Now that it's happening, like, okay, this is going to be the 14th year where you haven't had backward compatibility, people are going to start downloading it. And like you said, it gives it an appeal because people are getting used to it.
Well, it not only the appeal for it, but like people like me, where I have the original NES console and stuff like that, and you can't really hook these up to your flat screen TV anymore and have them look good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like blown up, and the pixels are just enormous. They're just obnoxious. They're helping that with these consoles where it's fixing that a little. I mean, it's still going to be, obviously, it's going to be the 8-bit graphics and whatnot with the system, but at least it's not going to look like where I'm staring at Mario's crotch just and I can't see anything else around me because it's just all messed up.
Balls.
Yeah. So, and then on top of that too, the beauty of it to me, to be able to sit down and have, a PlayStation, only a Wii, and only maybe an Xbox sitting in front of my TV and being able to play just from the download of it, the download side of it, getting rid of all these cartridges and all these consoles is kind of a nice thing to save space.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. But then you lose all
if
your
I can pack all my...
I mean, realistically, if you don't build a big enough cabinet to hold every console that's ever been released, who are you?
I am a married man with children that get into everything I own.
I know, I'm kidding. Because it's like normal people. But you see all this stuff like on Reddit or whatever, where they're like, look at my amazing cabinet. And you're like, God, I'm jealous because I'm a nerd. But then
you're jealous, and then you realize they live in their mom and dad's basement.
Because every time you look around, you're like, well, simulated light. Yeah, that's definitely a basement. Yep, definitely.
And I recycle my semen.
Hey, that's... I mean, that's really gross if you think about it. Oh, wonderful way to just... God damn it, Steve! I can't even finish a sentence. I'm queasy now. It's disgusting.
To really set the mood, he's got the clapper going on in there.
It's got protein.
That video, yeah. Something else.
Inappropriations.
How about those JRPGs?
Seriously. All right.
Yeah, I've watched enough hentai to know where that conversation is going.
I don't want to know where your tentacles are coming from. And for me...
Just where they're going.
For me, that's just enough. I've had enough of your shit, guys. I love your shit! I think it's going to close out the rinse. How do you guys feel? You have anything else?
No, actually, I think we did pretty good. So, hopefully we've got a few people out there listening to us.
Steve, you're outro right now. Go outro, go!
Outro? What do you want me to tell everybody? Thanks for listening to us, and we're going to be back next week. And to let you guys all know that I shall be hosting next week's podcast, because Joe's making me. And thank you, Keone Jack Drama Young, for being here today. Thank you, Joseph the Vision X Matting. And I'm Steve Jeffries, and we will see you guys next week, or talk to you guys next week.
We're going to watch you.